Good morning, friends. We are learning our subject data visualization 3160717. And in that, we are learning HTML5. Actually, it is prerequisite and some of the things are there in our syllabus also, right? So let us see about that. What we want to see here is rise of HTML5 and difference between HTML4 and HTML5. In previous lectures, we have seen HTML4 as well as CSS, right? So let us see the rise of HTML5. That is, we can say, first of all, history. That is, HTML was started in 1989, where we have talked of that we wanted to have a language that is text language and which should be able to give us the effect of markup, right? So HTML was started. Then after we can say second version in 1995, 3.2 version in 1997, HTML4 that also in past 1997, XHTML 1.0. In HTML4, it is not required, it is not mandatory that whichever text starts must end. But XHTML, that is extended HTML, it says that whatever tag we start, all of them we must end, right? So that is extended HTML, and that was started in 2000. Then its next version came, and after that we can say that we are having HTML5 in 2004, and we used to say it is for what you see is what you get, right? Now, what is the difference between HTML4 and HTML5? Let's see. Full duplex or streaming. So, with this feature, what is the difference? In HTML4, communication between the client and server was done through streaming and long polling. Since there were no WebSockets available in HTML4. In HTML5, client and server communication support, it contains WebSockets that allow full duplex communication between clients and servers, right? So we can say the first difference is HTML5 is having full duplex as well as it is having the WebSockets, right? Second is malformed documents. HTML5 provides consistency in malformed documents handling, that is better error handling than HTML4. The third thing is tags. HTML5 has more advanced tags like canvas, video, audio, and many others. For next one, we can say multimedia tags. Multimedia is supported by HTML5, whereas HTML4 supported these things by third party like Silverlight and Flash. So we can see a lot of difference, or you can say advancement is that in HTML5 than HTML4. So in other way, we can say new features of HTML5, right? So let's see that new semantic elements. Semantics. What do we mean by that? Typically, we used to say semantics means meaning, right? Semantics means it gives us the meaning. What sort of meaning? Is it going to give us the word meaning? No, it adds something by which we can have something meaningful, right? So that we'll see. These are like header, footer, section, right? You can see that. Forms 2.0, improvements to HTML web forms were new attributes have been introduced for input tag. Persistent local storage to achieve without resorting to third-party plugins, right? So persistent local storage is there. We can achieve without any third-party plugins, right? WebSocket, we have just seen the difference. HTML5 is having WebSocket. Our next generation bidirectional communication technology for web applications. Next is server-side events. What do we mean by that? HTML5 introduces events which flow from web server to the web browsers, and they are called server-side events. What we say is the events which flow from web server to web browsers. That is, web server send the to the web browser, and that is why it is called as server send events. Canvas. This supports a two-dimensional drawing surface that you can program with JavaScript. JavaScript is now known to you. Audio and video. You can embed audio or video on your web pages without resorting to the third-party plugins, right? So these are the new features of HTML5, or we can say the difference between HTML4 and HTML5, right? So both the way I have given you the title. First, I have told you the difference between HTML and HTML4 and HTML5. And the second, this is also the part of this only, right? It is said as new features of HTML5. You can say why these two titles. So you can have the idea that both the things are the same thing. And if the question is asked for new features, or otherwise if it is being asked the difference, we can write that. Okay. So few more. They are, say, geolocation. Now what is that? Now visitors can choose to share their physical location with your web application. Microdata, what is that? This lets you create own vocabularies beyond HTML5 and extend your web pages with custom semantics. Drag and drop. Drag and drop the items from one location to another location on the same web page. So these are the new features of HTML5, or we can say the difference between HTML4 and HTML5. So let's see. Doc type. I have shown you in the class also. That is, we used to typically write the less than exclamation doc type HTML, right? It says this one, people are writing this way also, or if you are using any particular, what you can say, editor, HTML editor, then you will find written like this. Okay, whatever is the system, that also being said here. Here it is DTD. DTD is document type definition, right? Document type definition. The way its structure should be is defined in this DTD. How the document should be. What should be there as the first tag, then next, then next, then next. That is being defined in this strict.dtd file, right? Or simply we can write it as less than exclamation doc type HTML. That means we want to say that we are giving the file whose document type is HTML, right? Character encoding. Character encoding is said as meta character set is equal to UTF-8, right? The syntax is case insensitive, right? Now, for script tag, HTML4, if we want to write the JavaScript, we used to say it as the script type is equal to text slash JavaScript, and source is equal to whatever is the JavaScript, that is .js file. This way we have to write. And in HTML5, it makes our life so simple. That is, we just have to write it as script src is equal to whatever is our script file. And what we used to say is the smallest JavaScript file, that is the empty JavaScript, isn't it? So it is this one, where no code is written in between the script and script tag, right? In the workshop which we have just organized, in that you must have seen that is the smallest JavaScript file is, or smallest JavaScript is where nothing is there, or you can say empty script is there, right? For link, for style sheet, which provide style to our HTML file, right? Our HTML content. So for that, what we used to write is, in HTML4, we used to write it as link rel is equal to style sheet, type is equal to text slash CSS, and href is equal to whatever is our CSS, that is cascading style sheet file. That is, say, for example, style file.css. But in HTML5, it simplifies our life. That is, link rel is equal to style sheet, href is equal to style file.css. No need to write as type is equal to text slash CSS as it was there in HTML4. Same for what we have seen, that is for textless JavaScript. We do not have to write that in HTML5, right? So HTML5 elements. HTML5 elements are marked up using start tags and tags. Tags are delimited using angle brackets with the tag name in between. And tags include a slash before the tag name. This is known to us, isn't it? As for example, we can say this p tag is starting. Some text is there in between. And we can say this is slash p inside the angle brackets. That is the and tag, right? So names are insensitive. Convention is to use all lowercase, right? Typically, they are insensitive, but we use the lowercase typically. So what are the HTML5 attributes? This is known to us, right? The way we are using in our HTML4. So let's say that elements may contain attributes used to set properties of an element. Some attributes defined for specific elements only. All attributes have a name and a value. Attributes defined in CSS. Attributes may only be specified within the start tag and must never be used in and tags. That is but obvious, right? Attributes are case sensitive. Convention is to stay with lowercase, right? So typically we used to write a HTML5 structure. We want to know new tags introduced in HTML5 for better structure. What are they? Document of application section. It can be used together with H1 to H6 to indicate the document structure. What we say is, this tag represents a generic document or application section. Can be used together with H1 to H6 to indicate the document structure, right? Article. This tag represents an independent piece of content of a document, such as a blog entry or newspaper article. Aside. This tag represents a piece of content that is only slightly related to the rest of the page. Header. This tag represents the header of a section. Footer. This tag represents a footer for a section and can contain information about the author, copyright information, etc. NAV, that is the navigation. This tag represents a section of the document intended for the navigation. So this is the HTML5 structure where we are having the new tags. Section, article, aside, header, footer, navigation, right? A dialogue. This tag can be used to mark up a conversation. Figure. This tag can be used to associate a caption together with some embedded content, such as graphic or video. So what we can see is new tags. They are section, article, aside, header, footer, navigation, dialogue, figure, right? So let's see how we can write them. That is, we can say header, start tag, end tag, that is inside the body tag. Navigation, that is NAV and NAV. For article, we can say inside that we can have the sections, like say section start, then some text and section ends, and article, for aside, for figure, for footer, right? This is the way we can have the structure of our HTML5 document. Fine. Now let's see the example of our HTML5 header. So where we are writing, see this doc type HTML is yes, that, head is that is inside HTML. Then we are having the meta tag. We are writing the keywords, right? Keywords is very important for any HTML page for web design, right? Because it gives us the idea what this page contains. Does it give the idea only to us? No, it gives the idea to the search engine or web crawler, right? Okay. So title and head, that is as we are writing in HTML4 also. Now, what we want is our header, which is the tag for our HTML5. So header role is equal to banner. Say H1, we are saying HTML5 document structure example. And H1 P, where we are saying this page could be tried in Safari, Chrome, or Mozilla browsers. And header, right? Header is started, header is ended. It is not head, okay? Please have the difference. Head is the tag which we are using where before body tag, right? And header is a tag which we are writing inside the body tag. Okay, so have the difference. So let us write this code in our HTML editor, and then after we can see, we'll see the output, right? So we have already seen that, so I am just copy pasting for you in the HTML editor, and then we'll see the output. Okay, so I am copying it, and here we'll be putting it. Here is the code, right? Let me make its font a little bit more so you can see it properly. We should zoom it. Appearance, zoom, 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 right? So you can see it properly. Zoom in. I guess now you should be able to see it properly. Still, I'll make a bit zoom so you will not have any problem, right? Here it is, zoom. I guess now it is seen properly, right? So very simple is we are having the body tag. Inside that we are having the header tag, right? Then what we say is we'll be ending the tag, right? That is our body tag and an HTML, right? This is what is required, right? Okay, let me give the file name as a header example.html, right? So see, now as we know that we can open this in our browser as just dragging it from here and dropping it here in the browser, right? So we can see the header tag example in HTML file, right? So we are able to see this. This is the header, right? Which tag we have used inside the header? That was the H1 tag, right? We can have the H2, H3, that way we can have the headers, right? Say H2 tag. Let us write this way only, so we'll be able to see the difference also, right? H3 tag, right? Now you can use whatever editor you want, okay? No issue. Right? So we can see the document structure, that is the header, right? Okay. Now, this is the comment, HTML comment. That is, we can say less than, exclamation, dash, dash, whatever you want, you can write there. Again, say dash, dash, and greater than. This is the HTML comment, right? This is known to us. It is same as our HTML4 comment, right? So let's see the article now. Article example. As we have seen the structure, we can say that article will be having these sections, right? So let's see that, how to write that. Article is started, section, then inside that, suppose I'm writing it as tag. Once article can have multiple sections, right? Or we can say one article can have multiple sections, right? That's better. And section, then again one more section where we are again having the p tag. This is a second section, right? And section and article, this two is there inside the body tag, right? And we can say an HTML. Okay, so let us write this code in our editor and check it out. It's output, right? Let me give the new thing, right? New file. And let us give it as the name, that is our article example, right? Article example and section. Let us write that way only, article and section. Okay. Let us run this in the browser. Let us drag this and drop it here. Okay, so here what we have is one article. I have zoom it. Okay, otherwise it is not having this much bigger font. I have zoom it so you can see it properly. So one article can have multiple sections, and this is a second section, right? Now let's see the next one. That is aside, figure, and footer, right? The new tags in HTML5. Let us see the example of all of them. Let's see, we are having doc type HTML, body. We know that inside HTML, we are having the head tag. Inside that, we are having meta tag. That consider it is there, okay? If I write all the things here, I'll not be able to show you the remaining code on the same slide. I'll have to put it on the other slide, right? That's why I'm not putting everything here. That is head, then inside that title, and inside that, inside the head, we are having the meta tag, right? So you will be writing all the things because it should be that, right? Okay. To support the search engine, or we can say web crawlers. Okay, so let's see the aside. Let's say we are having p tag. This is aside part of the web page. Okay, then for figure, we can say figure align right, img source. That is what we are using in our HTML4 also. So that's what we are giving here. Say img source is equal to whatever is the image files path. That's what we have put here. And alt, that is the alternate text. If we cannot find the text here, I have changed this actually. Okay, I'll change this. So I already changed that in a file. Okay, as width and height we can specify here, and figure, right? And figure. After that, we can see we are having footer tag. There we are specifying that P created by, say, AHREF is equal to mail to alumni at ckbcet.ac.in, right? And A tag and P tag. So this is the way we have specified the footer tag. That is what we can say use for specifying like copy information, or you can mail to one. Such information we can provide in the right and body and HTML. Fine. So let's yes, only figure is there. No, side is also there. Figure is also there, and we can say footer is also there, right? The same code is here. Okay, right, and body and HTML. Fine. Now let us the same code I have put here. Okay. Alt is CKBCET, that also I have changed here. Now this we want to give to our, just a second, okay. Let us drag and drop in the browser, right, to see the output. Okay. Let's see that this is the aside part of the web page. We can see it here. Then what we can see is here the image, the path of the images of our CKPCT logo. So that is being displayed here. And for the footer, we can see created by alumni. For alumni, the link is where we are having the mail to link, right? So we can see the structure of our HTML5 page, right? So we are having aside, figure, and footer, all the things in this HTML5. Okay, so next thing what we want to know is HTML5 canvas. When we talk of the canvas, we can remember two things, right? One is our canvas shoes, which we used to wear while going to the school, that we are not talking of. Second canvas is where we can say we are doing the painting, right? So we'll make some good picture and we'll do it creatively painted, right? Yes. So that's what we are talking of. So are we going to do the painting here? See, this is through our HTML5. Okay, we are not going to have the actual canvas and we'll be doing the painting with the colors, acrylic colors or anything like that. Here we'll be using the computer based canvas, right? And that is through our HTML5. So let's see this. It is very interesting because we want to create beautiful figure with this canvas, right? And yes, whatever data set you have selected for your subject, that is our data visualization subject, that figure you have to create using this canvas. Okay, so do learn each and everything very nicely so you can create your figure very creative. Okay, let's see. HTML5 canvas element can be used to draw graphics on the web page via JavaScript. That is known to you now. The canvas was originally introduced by Apple for the Mac OS dashboard widgets and to power graphics in the Safari web browser. Later, it was adopted by the Firefox, Google Chrome, and Opera. Right? So we are using Chrome only, so no issue for us, right? Now, the canvas is a part of the new HTML5 specification for next generation web technologies, right? So no need to worry. By default, the canvas element has 300 px of width and 100 px of height without any border and content, right? If you are using just canvas as the element, then it means that it is having the drawing space that is having 300 px by 150 px, right? However, custom width and height can be defined using the CSS height and width property, whereas the border can be applied using the CSS border property, right? So let's see. Now, canvas coordinates. The canvas is a two-dimensional rectangular area. The coordinates of the top left corner is 0, 0. This is, we can see, is 0, 0, which is known as the origin. And the coordinates of the bottom right corner are canvas width and canvas height, right? So here we can say it should be what? If we are having, say, 300 by 150, then we can say here we'll be having 299 and 149, right? When you move mouse inside the canvas environment, its coordinates gets changed. Suppose somewhere inside this we have put the mouse, will be able to see it as a particular location, that is the X and Y, right? So one such example I have put here as a screenshot, right? So this is for X, this is for Y, right? Let's see the basic structure for HTML5 and Canvas drawing, which will be useful for each and every drawing. That means here we are going to see the basic shapes like say line or circle or rectangle, right? something like this. So for canvas drawing, we need to have this simple structure which will be useful for each and every canvas drawing program. Okay, so let's see that. I'll say you the same thing again and again so that you will remember it properly, right? Because this is coming for the first time to you, so you may not remember that very easily. So we'll tell you that and we'll draw those particular shapes. Okay, so we can have the idea. So let's say that basic structure, right? For HTML5 and Canvas drawing. So let's say that doc type is HTML. That is for sure. Yes. HTML length is equal to EN. That is English, right? Head, meta tag, then the title, that is we can say drawing on the canvas, right? Now, as we know that whatever variables we want to use throughout our web page, I'm saying web page, okay, I'm not saying website, so keep that thing in your mind. If we want to use the variables throughout the web page, we should define that in the script tag of our head tag, right? We want this to be used throughout the web page. So we define them inside the script tag of our head tag, right? So it will be available throughout the web page. So what we write inside that? Window.onLoad is equal to function. Now what we want to do is, that is on loading of this particular page, do this, right? So when we load this particular web page, these two variables will be initialized. Okay. So what is the code for that? That is, we can say variable canvas. We know that in JavaScript, we can declare the variables as var and whatever is the variable name, right? That is equal to document. Document is our this web document. Dot get element by ID and my canvas. You can give whatever name you want. Letter will use the same name, right? So let us consider we are initializing two variables. One is our canvas and second is our context, right? So variable canvas is equal to document dot get element by ID my canvas. Second is our context, that is equal to, that is our environment, right? That is canvas, this canvas dot get context of 2D. That is we want to draw the two-dimensional figures, right? Two-dimensional surface we are having, on that we will be drawing the shapes, basic shapes, right? Okay. And whatever we want for drawings, a line or a circle or whatsoever, or whatever figure is that we can write here, right? Then after the function is over and semicolon, right? So, and script. This is what is the basic structure for canvas drawing. Okay. Let's see, inside our head tag, we are having script tag, wherein we'll be writing our JavaScript, and what we say, window.onLoad, that is equal to, we are giving the function definition, right? We are not calling the other function which is already defined and we are calling the function. What we are doing is, on loading of this particular page, we are calling this function. Which function? Which is written in line only, right? So what is the code for that? That is, we are having the initialization of two variables. One is canvas and second is context. Canvas is the get element by ID of my canvas, and variable context, that is environment with which we want to draw something, right? So canvas, this variable dot get context of 2 dimension. Okay. Now, in our body tag, this is the basic structure only, right? Which we'll be using for other programs too. So we can say and head, because script tag we have already written, right? Inside that we have initialized 2 variables. One is canvas and second is our context. Okay. Now in our body tag, we are having the canvas tag. With canvas tag, we are saying that its ID is my canvas. What is my canvas? It is what we have taken here. That is with the help of document.getElement by ID, and the same name, same case we have given here. My canvas. C capital, M small, and others are small, right? So C capital, M small, all others are small, right? So it needs to be same, okay? It needs to be same. Whatever canvas ID we are providing here, the same thing we have to provide here with the document.get element by ID. Okay, both the way we have to write the same thing, right? Both the places. Width is equal to 500, height is 200. Typically, it is 300 by 150, but if we want, we can change that, right? So we can specify the width and height of our canvas, right? So this is for our basic canvas drawing structure, right? We haven't yet drawn anything, right? We haven't drawn a single line. This is the basic structure, right? So in each and every shape drawing, whether we are having the line or we can say rectangle or circle or whatsoever shape we'll be using, for all of them, this is the basic structure. That's why I have shown you first. This will be used again and again for each and every shape. Okay, one by one we'll learn a different shape, so we'll be having it repeatedly used, fine? So it should be clear to you. If you are writing, say, draw line, so in our script tag, now I am not going to give you the whole structure again and again. We already know that in our script tag we'll be having the 2 variables defined, that only I'll provide you, and will give you the code that is for the drawing the line, right? I'll not give you other things. Okay, so let's see that script tag, therein we are having window.onload is equal to function. This we already seen, right? Where we are having first 2 variables defined, that is our variable canvas and variable context. So variable canvas is equal to document.getElement by ID, my canvas, and variable is equal to context, that is equal to canvas.getContext of 2D, right? So 2-dimensional surface we are getting of our canvas, and now we want to draw the line. For drawing the line, what should we do? Is context dot move to 50, 150. These are the coordinates as you want. So we are moving the cursor as we typically used to understand that it is at 50, 150, and then after context dot line 2, that is 250, 250, will be moving the line, will be moving the cursor and will be drawing the line, right? Then after we can say context dot stroke. This is required, otherwise we'll not be able to see any line, right? Function is over and semicolon, right? And script. This is what is there for drawing the line. If we do this, we'll be able to see the output as the line is being drawn, right? But we should check it out, the line drawing function, isn't it? So for that, let me give the basic structure, right? Basic structure is this one, script. Let us write this new file. This is our script wherein we'll be having the basic structure, where we'll be having this. Now let us write the code for our line drawing, right? Basic structure is to be there. Otherwise, we cannot draw it, isn't it? This is for drawing the line, right? Context dot move to where it is. Context dot move to context dot line to and context dot stroke, right? So this is for line drawing dot html. Fine. Let me take it to the browser. Drag and drop here. So we can see the line, right? This is the line drawing. Fine. This is the line drawing code what we have written. Now, if we want to draw the rectangle, what we have to do is see other things remain same. Let us see the line drawing code we have just seen. Now we'll see the rectangle drawing, right? So context dot rect will be providing the coordinates, right? 50, 50, 200, 100 and context dot stroke, right? So let me give that in the same code. I can give it to here. You'll be able to see the let's see our stroke that is for our rectangle, right? We can see the line as well as rectangle because we have merged both the code, right? This was for the drawing the line. This is for the drawing the rectangle, right? And what about this? That is the stroke, right? That we have to give, isn't it? Next is we want to draw the circle, right? For circle, what do we require is we want to have the arc. Directly circle is not available. So we can say we should use the arc. So for arc, what we can say is the x, y, that is the center we used to say, then the radius, then start angle and end angle, right? Now start angle and end angle. For that, we can say if we want to have the complete circle, we should have 0 to 360 degree, isn't it? So that's what we are having. For that, we can say context dot arc, say 150, 100 is our center. Then what do we say is radius, right? Then after start angle is 0 and end angle is 2 pi. 360 is 2 pi, right? So 2 multiplied by math dot pi and some more things if we want, that is anti-clockwise, then we can say it is false, right? If we want, we can keep it true if we want to have anti-clockwise, right? So then after stroke, right? So let me copy this line and put it in the same code. Okay, let us update this, that is upload this, reload this. We can see the circle, right? We can see the circle. Say I am putting everything in the same code so you can see the effect, right? Otherwise, we can write different files and we can draw the line, then after rectangle, then after circle, right? That also we can do. Very simple thing is that, right? So this is for our drawing the circle. Okay. So that's all for today.